Hey everyone, Leader Dorset Spur back with another video. I know I'm putting out quite a lot at the moment, but then there is a lot to talk about, isn't there? Now, I'm going to be totally upfront on this. Yesterday, I did not watch the match. It was my grandson Brody's christening yesterday, and so there was a big family get together, and I wasn't able to sit at home and watch it on a dodgy stream. I did manage to catch little bits of it on a iPhone stream that my son had, but I haven't been able to watch the whole game live and kind of gather any real personal feelings about the game itself. We'll be doing a live stream on Tuesday night with the guys from Shooting the Shit, who did watch the game, and will be able to kind of talk about it, hopefully in a little bit more depth than I am. But what I can talk about is obviously the result, how I'm feeling, and so on and so forth. So if you're happy with that, I'm happy to kind of share that with you. So obviously a majorly disappointing result. If last week was the Carlsberg of weekends, then this one was the fizzy water of weekends, because obviously things was going our way. Aston Villa dropped points, Brighton dropped points, Man United dropped points, and so we dropped points. And it's that same old feeling, isn't it? Every time you start putting a run together, you start feeling like you're moving in the right direction, a game like this comes along and kicks you right between the legs. Inactivity from Ange in terms of the Brighton game was totally different in the West Ham game, and that I felt made all the difference for us to win the game. This week, he started with exactly the same team pretty much as he did against West Ham, with the exception of the boy Moore, and you kind of think to yourself, okay, there's enough in this team. Crystal Palace haven't won a game; they're languishing at the bottom of the league. But the feedback, I think, when I was on Chris Cowling's show, he played a clip from a Palace fan. Back of the Nest, I think it was called. Anyway, he was really good, and he said, that they'd not been playing particularly badly. They were just unable to score goals, and I think we still saw that in that game. They got one goal, didn't punish us as maybe they should have done. Although I have watched the highlights, by the way, so I can kind of talk about the game a little bit. I saw a couple of, probably 3 really good saves from Vicario. So without those saves, it could have been obviously a lot worse than it was. But what he's saying is that they wasn't particularly bad, and I don't think they are particularly bad. And I said that before. And the thing is, it's like I've said this many times. Every team is in the Premier League because they deserve to be. They've won enough games to get there. That bit between the Championship and the Premier League is the difficult bit, with teams kind of yo-yoing or dropping out and coming back after a couple of seasons and so on and so forth, because there is a big divide between the two leagues. But then the Premier League is split between those right at the top that are always right at the top, and those that are chasing to try to get close to the top, and those that are mid-table, and those that are always battling out for those remaining spots to stay in the league. And I guess it's always going to be like that. Footballing money and everything else kind of plays that way. I've always felt that we've kind of punched above our weight a lot to kind of get into the Champions League. We were probably lucky to get to Champions League final. We were very lucky with performances that season. And you do need an element of luck to really get over the line, I guess, is what I'm saying. But anyway, listen, I'm starting to waffle now and kind of drift with what I'm saying. The game itself was very stop-start, broken up and all of that. That doesn't suit us, right? But then if you play into those hands of giving away stupid free kicks, rushing your passing, the pass that led to the goal really comes back to the same old story with players not concentrating, not playing the right pass. The ball comes from Vicario to Romero. We're playing out from the back. We're doing this week in, week out and all the rest of it. But rather than play a simple ball in front of him, I think to Basuma, was stood there, or Basuma maybe moving out a bit wider so he could play it out that way. He decides to clip the ball right across the goal line to Mickey van der Ven, who is unable to control it because of the weight of the pass, slips and falls over, and then the ball comes in, and Romero is literally just stood there again with Eze doing this nice little flick to the back post. There's no Pedro Porro because Pedro Porro has drifted inside. He's running out to kind of close him down, arms behind his back. Of course they are. And of course, Vicario is trying to get to it and can't. And that pretty much sums up Tottenham's self-destruct, which seems to happen just way, way, way too often. I guess the other point for me, which I find really strange about it, because if you watch the highlights, there are elements in it. I think we hit the post and there was a couple of good saves by Henderson. So there was opportunities in it. And I'm looking at the stats, I think we were at 66% possession. But it's turning that possession into something meaningful, right? But I just find it, I just didn't understand the substitutions when you've got two number 10s playing and you're taking both of them out and Mikey Moore at the same time. Like, for me, I just can't, it doesn't not make any sense to me at all. And then you're bringing in an out of form Timo Werner and a back from injury Richarlison. Like, to me, I scratch my head and don't understand it. And I guess that's, Ange is there to make those decisions, and he knows how the players are playing and what they can bring to the game and so on and so forth. And whether I don't know, I wasn't able to see whether they brought any impact into the game or not, whether those substitutions were the right substitutions. But for me, if a team's kind of playing a little bit more, defensively and so on, and you're in need of a goal, the players that are the ones that can provide that spark, if you like, I don't see them being the ones that you would take off. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. If you're going to take one off, okay, you take Maddison off or you take Kulu off. Maybe, you bring in a bit more of a defensive-minded player in Sarr to protect it, because he did brilliantly against West Ham. But to take off all the creativity, I just didn't get it. Maybe, Mikey Moore, you take him off and you bring in Richarlison, you put Richarlison out on the left-hand side, and Maddison can kind of drift and he can drift inside, and end up with two strikers up front. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe that's what he was trying to do. I'm just really not sure. But at the same time as all of that, being disappointed is okay. You can be disappointed. You can be frustrated. You can be critical of the manager's decisions. I think he's made some wrong decisions there. That's my personal view. I didn't think the starting lineup was a bad starting lineup. I did think maybe we needed Sarr in there as opposed to both Maddison and Kulu together. But he does tend to start off with them. But, you can kind of change that up during the game. You can criticise the players for their lack of effort. Of course you can. You can criticise players for making a mistake, consistently, continuously making mistakes. I find that really annoying that we can't seem to get a World Cup winning, Copa America winning leadership member to make the right decisions consistently. So you can criticise all those things. You can criticise, you know, the lack of effort or commitment or whatever it might be. I'm again okay with all that. But at the same time, you can't lose your head. You can't lose your head and go, that's it. Let's change everything again. Let's throw everything away, start all over again. Because I just don't see where we start again. I just don't see where we start again. Are the players that we've got no good? You know, are they crap? And to be honest with you, the majority of them I don't think are crap. I don't think Maddison is a crap player. I don't think Van der Ven is a crap player. I don't think Vicario is a crap player. I don't think that Romero is a crap player. I think he makes mistakes. I think he's got concentration issues, but I don't think he's a bad player, right? And the same with Solanke. I was waxing lyrical about Solanke against West Ham without scoring, without an assist. I thought he was brilliant. I thought he played really, really well. And yet I'm seeing, you know, calls for him being absolute rubbish, needs to score a goal, otherwise he's, you know, it's pointless and blah, blah, blah. You know, Vicario's costing us. You know, I've seen it all. You know, I've seen all those comments. And that's why I try to stay away from it. And I try to be level-headed and not reactionary in these videos. And it's difficult. I get it. It really is difficult to not get emotional about it. We all do. We all get really emotional and worked up over these kinds of decisions and these performances rather. And I understand why fans feel that way. I mean, I'm in WhatsApp groups as well, and I can see the fallout in those WhatsApp groups and the disappointment. And the reason why people are like this, make no mistake, is because we care. We care about our football club. It means something to us. It means more to us. In some people's lives, it means more than anything. Because, you know, for whatever reason, they might not have family and they might not have, you know, a partner or really close friends. And football is their friends. Football, you know, is what they use to give themselves entertainment and something to believe in and so on. And so I can understand why people do lose their shit. But at the same time, you've got to maintain a level of composure. I don't think it's helpful to literally just scrap everything after this far down. And I get it. People can talk about ENIC for the last 20 odd years. I absolutely get it. I'm not a fan of Daniel Levy or ENIC or whatever. I think they've made major mistakes over the years. Still continue to make mistakes, still continue to do things that are infuriating to most of us, to most level-minded people in terms of, you know, concessions for the over 65s, for the pricing of some of these matches, aka Roma. You know, I absolutely get all that. But you can't look at performances of this season against all the previous seasons of the last 25 years because it's totally different. You've gone through some good times under Pochettino without really getting there. We've had some bad times under Conte or under Mourinho, under Nuno. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. But you can't literally clear out a whole squad. Literally, you've only got Ben Davies and Son realistically left in this squad from that time. Everybody else has been shipped out, moved on, left, whatever. This is a totally new squad. You can only judge this squad and for this period under Ange Postecoglou. We've had one season and, you know, 10 games or whatever it is under Postecoglou. It's not great. We are not setting the world alight, but we are winning more games than we are losing. We are gaining more points than we're losing. And you've got some exciting young players and a developing squad coming in. It's going to take time, and the reaction that we give is the same thing for pretty much every fan base, right? Nobody wants to see us win more than the fans do. But it's going to take time, and we don't have time. Fans don't have time, because fans are the ones getting their asses kicked at work, or online, or with their friends, or in the pub, or at work, or whatever it might be, because it just means something to us all. It means something to us all. So I absolutely get it, but you've got to remain positive, and like I've said before, enjoy the wins when they come. Enjoy the wins when they come. That's why the win against West Ham was so important. People can cheer, people can be happy, they can have a good time, they can sing and all the rest of it. And then because this week it's gone to shit. Next week it may go better. Next week we may win against Aston Villa. On Wednesday we may win against Man City. Enjoy those games. You've got to. I'm not saying we are going to win for sure. I'm hoping so. I'm predicting we're going to. But I predicted we were going to win against Crystal Palace, and we weren't going to concede a goal. Just shows that I know bugger all about football. But what I do know is how I feel. And hopefully I know how a lot of you guys are feeling at this moment in time. So listen, all you got to do is keep your heads, keep your faith, and just keep... You're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We could keep losing for the next 5 years, and you will still be there, because you're a Tottenham fan. You'll always be a Tottenham fan, and you'll always support your team, and you will always stand up for your team against everybody else, because that's what football fans do, right? It's tribal. So listen, dust yourselves down, pick yourself up, have a cup of tea, and wait for Wednesday. And fingers crossed, we can all come together again, and we can all have a collective sigh of relief when the game's over and we've won, or we can all console each other if we lose. But listen, thanks for watching this video. I'm sorry it's a bit of a ramble, but I can only say how I feel at this moment in time. We'll be back on Tuesday live to talk about the Crystal Palace game, to talk about the AZ game, and to preview the game against Man City in the Carabao Cup. Please do come along and join us on that. It will be good to hear your thoughts and to sharing your feelings. Ask us some questions. I'll put them to the panel for them to talk about, and we can kind of build that from there. But again, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it, and I'll see you all in the next one. Up the Spurs.